Good morning, everyone. Mrs. Smita Mehta is an environmental and sustainability professional from Pune. She has masters in environmental science. She worked as a facilitator at Earthwatch Institute in the year 2015 in order to promote field-based research and experimental learning as a unique way of developing environmental leaders. She volunteered in Ellsworth Vale District Council, UK for a year. She worked as a recycling advisor and a monitor for Keep Britain Tidy in London, monitoring the level of participation, of use of food bins, data collection, and validation. For 2 years, she worked as a researcher at the Center of Media Studies, developing and initiating research and outreach products in the field of sustainable development. She is now currently a freelance consultant undertaking field visits in the urban forest for schools, transliteration and translation, synopsis writing, and she has also written various articles on parenting and conservation.
Uh, Thank you, Soundarya. Thank you, Chandan and Eastwood School of Architecture, for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences on sustainable living. I thank all the participants who have joined us today. Yeah, so we all know a small virus has shown the entire world its place. We are caged in our homes for over more than a month now. Uh, Everyone unknowingly has been forced to live sustainably, some way or the other. So, this talk will explore how you can implement sustainable habits in your daily life during and after lockdown. So, what is sustainable living? Many people tend to equate sustainability with protecting environment. In reality, sustainability is a very human-centered concept focused on sustaining humanity. Now, within the limits of our planet. So, yeah, conservation of environmental resources is a big part of sustainability, but not by sacrificing human welfare. So, the focus is on conserving the resources so that everyone in the present as well as future generations can access them and benefit from them equally. So, what exactly do we need to do as students, as citizens? We just have to stay mindful about our surroundings. You, your family, neighborhood, your campus, your college, office, and city also help move the society towards a circular economy. According to me, sustainable living is a lifestyle change that one needs to accept willingly. So these are, I'm going to share some news photos. Please have a look at the headline. Everybody will have a question. So now, how do I start living sustainably? Sustainably. Any action you do or wish to do begins first in your head. So it is really helpful to picture yourself doing certain activities which you may wish to do in future. This is also referred to as power of intention. This may help to understand what are the possibilities and also any limitations for you personally. For example, I pictured myself changing various habits before they actually manifested in my daily life. And once you're convinced, you will work your things around. Also, people around you, when they know your intentions, they will slowly know your priorities as well. So, for example, like I really wanted to start farming and on a very small basis. It's not like I wanted to own a land. Of course, that's my long term goal, but I really wanted to start farming. And I had this deep positive intention that I wanted to farm. Few Before lockdown, one of my neighbors said that I have a land. I mean, my friend has got a bungalow plot and she's not even living there. She lives in China and it's vacant. And I've asked her, can we just go there and start growing some veggies? So will you join me? And I was like, this is really great, and I have been wanting to do that. It doesn't matter whose plot it is. It's just that I want to experience growing my own vegetables. And it started. And we grew some watermelons, we grew some cucumbers. The second wonderful experience is one of our neighbors who has got the top terrace, the full terrace of our building. And she said, I want to grow vegetables. Can you guys help me out? And we can share the produce. So again, it's just the intention what you have, and things come to you because you have always promoted it to them, others, and always spoken about it. So people will come back to you, and of course, if you have strong intentions of doing something, it will come to you. This is from my personal experience. So try and experiment as much as you can in the lockdown. It is a continuous process of unlearning habits to new sustainable ways. Experience the change. I took my time and started following what I had listed down in the beginning, like what tweaks I have to make or what habit change I have to do. It started with very simple things like having a bucket bath or repairing things at home and not jumping to buy anything new. I think it's all about rekindling our old practices, what our parents and their parents followed. After having done one small change consciously, I got a feeling of wow, I have trained my brain successfully. It has inspired me to do more by taking more challenges and tougher decisions. Once you experience the change, never forget to share your experience. Like I said before, it can be on social media, with your friends and family, colleagues. You can inspire people and also make it some solutions from others' experience. Now, what opportunities does lockdown present to us? First thing, it has taught us to slow down in our lives. We are spending longer time at home, which will make us think and see things in the house which you can tweak, which otherwise you wouldn't have noticed at all. Your usual travel time can be utilized in a habit formation or jotting down points for what you want to change and train your brain. And travel time in Bangalore, everybody knows how long it is. So you can use that travel time in a positive way. Few examples I would like to tell you. In lockdown, what you all can do is a waste bin audit. Now, believe me, in an Indian household, 75% of the waste is organic in nature. So that means 75% of our household waste can be recycled and used as compost. Segregate your waste. Recycle as much as dry waste as you can. A small tweak which I would like to tell you and share with you is do not cut the corners of the plastic packets. Like over here, I have shown you some, there's a milk packet and there's a pizza sachet and some other snack item which was there in the plastic. I have not cut through the whole corner. Now, the reason being, because if you guys have seen, it will always lie in the garbage pile. It will never get to the recycler. Whereas the milk packets or any other plastic packets do get recycled. The waste pickers sort all the packets and sell it to the scrap dealers. But they don't tend to go and collect those small triangular corners of the milk packets of any other plastic material, packaging material. So a very simple tweak, but it's very helpful because whatever you cut down and it's small pieces of plastic end up in landfill. So our aim is to delay or divert as much plastic as we can from the landfill. Use newspaper to line your bin. Avoid plastic bin liners. There are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to make a paper bag for bins. Also, one more thing is about e-waste. It's very important for us to segregate our waste and dispose it correctly. E-waste, according to United Nations Environment Programme in 2019, stated that world generates approximately 50 million tons of electronic waste per year. According to Dr. Anvesha Bosatakur, who is a researcher and carrying out studies on e-waste, says that it consists heavy metals and persistent organic pollutants, extremely harmful to human health and environment. Also, it is a rich source of precious and valuable metals such as gold, silver, palladium, and copper. So, the presence of both toxic and valuable metals make e-waste a complex waste system. There are urban mines, that's what they are called, when the e-waste is collected together from the dealer or from a vendor There are urban mines where people work and take out all these precious, valuable metals from e-waste. So it's very important how we discard and dispose our e-waste correctly, and it reaches to the recycler. The next would be decluttering. I'm sure everybody, the first thing when you were at home in the first lockdown, you must have decluttered your wardrobe, your shelves, and you must have realized after this is the fourth lockdown, you must have realized we actually live on very minimal things, right? So declutter and give it to the waste collector after the lockdown has lifted. I'm saying this after lockdown is lifted because not entirely in all the cities. I'm not sure about Bangalore whether the the waste picker is, I mean, the waste collectors are taking the trucks to the landfill or no. Because in Pune it's not started yet. So we are holding on to all our waste in our house, which we want to donate or which we want to give away. Let go of your things which is not used for a long time. Now, one more thing I would like to uh, promote here is form your WhatsApp group in your society or also in your campus, your students from year 1 to year 4. And what we do here in Pune, in my society, is we post items which are required and also want to give away. I recently received a scooter cycle for my 4-year-old and roller skates from the older kids in our society. So we are just diverting this whole product for being into landfill or in the bin. It's a very nice saying: "Is today's treasures is tomorrow's trash." So here is an example of a society where they are using all these boxes to just to collect the shoes, the clothes, gadgets, or toys anybody is having. Same thing. It's like a recycling station which can be built in your society, and when your college starts, you can do the same thing in your campus. Other thing is about composting, like I said before. Composting your kitchen waste is extremely simple at home. You can start with a broken bucket also, poke some holes in it for the drainage and for aeration, and start composting at home. You can see here my daughter who's actually playing with the ready compost, and it's so nice to smell and it's so nice and crumbly. She doesn't feel that it's anything smelly or foul, something like that. Next is grow your own, buy local and community farming. Microgreens, as you all know, are packed with nutrients, and you can grow it with or without soil. So even if you don't have, if you're in hostel or in your just one room and you don't have any pots, you can still grow your own food. Uh, I started growing my food when I was in UK, and we had only this windowsill over here, which you can see. And I started growing my herbs there, and I started using those herbs in my food. You can also get into community farming, like I said. It does not need a very big land. A person who has a terrace or a balcony or a plot, whatever, and a second person who has the intention of growing can come together and do these things together. And that's all it takes to start a community farming. It can be 2 people, it can be 3 people. It doesn't mean that the whole community and we need 50 or 20 people to start community farming. You can also get in touch with local organic farmers in and around Bangalore and tie up with them and ask them to come to your society directly to sell their bulk produce. That way, the middleman is also gone and they get a very fair price for their produce, and you get fresh organic produce for you to eat. One more thing is, as everybody must have started already, zero waste food items. Why I say zero waste food items? Because like homemade snacks like chuda ladu, which otherwise you would have bought it in the store, which comes with the plastic packaging. Now, when you make it at home and store it in your dabbas, you don't have plastic packaging anymore, and that's why I call it zero. So you can start doing that. Here is a small photo where I grow my tomatoes in a small balcony. do it yourself. Everybody must have heard about it. Now, do it yourself is all about experimenting, learning, and modifying as you learn. So, a very simple thing is, when the bedsheet gets old and it's torn, you kind of throw away the bedsheet or give it to your maids, or start using it as rag for as a doormat or something. But what happens to the pillow covers? So what we do in our house is we save the pillow covers. We don't throw it away. We keep them and store the saris and really good dresses, which are used only for occasions, instead of the plastic covers which are sold at shops. Also, we tend to buy everything in bulk. Reason being, the plastic packaging involved in 1 liter pouch of oil is more when you buy 5 packets of oil, and when you buy only 1 jar of 5 liter oil, the packaging is less. And then the oil jars generally are used to store dal, when of course you have to wash and rinse it properly. And my maid takes it home and she says, I don't need to buy any jars for my house. I just take this. And she used to take some oil jars from me and started storing her dals in it, which was a really nice idea. Few things you can make at home during lockdown is home cleaners, bath salts. You can make a soap bar out of the leftover soap pieces. Shampoo bar, conditioner. There are plenty of recipes online, YouTube. I have been trying and testing different things in my house. You can see here, there's a bottle of Shikakai decoction, and I was amazed to see the amount of froth it created when I added in water, and I soaked clothes in it, and it was pretty clean. And here is a very important message for everybody. Like, we really don't need people who, a very small amount of people to do zero waste perfectly. I really love this, that millions of us have to do things imperfectly, modify it, learn and experiment more and more. The reuse, refuse, repurpose, refurbish, repair and upcycle. The re in my life, the re in my life, it's become very prominent, and I have prioritized. And everybody can do that. And whenever you see something, the first thing, whenever you buy any product, first thing is like, how long can I divert it from a landfill? Will I be able to do that? If it's just a disposable, one-time disposable thing, then I think it's better not to buy. Now, this is a gift which my daughter got when she was really small. This is the butterfly, the teether actually. And after she got used to it, and after she was old enough, and I was like, what do I do with it? I don't want to chuck it, because generally people won't take hand-me-down teethers for hygiene purpose. I just repurposed it to use my earphones and from untangling. So it's just that once you start repurposing and recycling, things will come automatically to you what to do with the next product. It's a very beautiful quote which I have recently come across. Please go through this, and especially about refurbishing and rebuilding and refinished and recycling, because you are an architecture school, it can just kindle your ideas some way. How do I continue after lockdown? If you can survive without buying any new luxury item in this lockdown period, believe me, then you can survive later as well. Postpone buying your wants. For this, you need to identify what is your want and what is your need, right? So buy in bulk, find alternatives, repair your e-waste. Like I said earlier, WhatsApp groups is a very good way to communicate with people and bring like-minded people together and do something. Look for zero waste shops around. You can do homemade cleaners. One more thing I would like to tell you is, don't suddenly discard all the plastic bottles or all the plastic dabbas in your house, or even for that matter toothbrushes. Use it till you can, and then when you need something else or another one, then go and buy a sustainable product. Remember, our goal is to divert the product going into the landfill. Also, one important note here to make is whenever you're using any plastic item or any, especially the food containers which we get, always try and make sure that you are rinsing the packet, even the kurkure packet or anything for that matter, rinse it well and then discard it and then dispose it. And this is the correct way of disposing, because if it is not washed properly, the waste picker generally doesn't tend to take that for recycling, because the recycler sees the food waste as a contamination and he doesn't take it to his facility of recycling. So if you are just doing one act of cleaning the product, the packaging properly and just disposing it off later after it's rinsed and dried, it makes a huge difference. Also try and buy from brands that provide plastic-free packaging, like in glass jars or in the paper bags. The best way I feel is to do and go back to the same old habit of buying it from Kirana store, where they have bulk rice and gehu and all. What I do is I have this big cereal boxes. So what I do is I always take the boxes with me, the jars, the plastic jars with me. I fill it in those and then just ask him to weigh it. Whatever comes the weighing, I just pay for the same thing. So even if it's a small jar and I know that I'm going to use only this much amount of millets or ragi, I just take that much, and how much ever fills in the jar, I pay for that. So I don't, if the plastic packaging it comes in, is my shopping becomes plastic free. This is one more thing which I try and do it in my house. Try and use non-toxic cleaning products. Either you make it at home or buy it from zero waste shops. Everybody will say, what difference is it going to make if only I start doing it? But it makes a huge difference by changing yourself, by changing your habits. And I have seen it in myself, because when I started composting, my mother started composting looking at the produce, what I had made. The compost was so rich. After saying that, my aunt started composting. After that, my sister started composting. And you start with yourself, with your family and friends, and really you can be an example for others. And it gives you immense pleasure when you do small changes and it affects huge things. Like, you may think it's not going to be useful, but it does. Believe me, it does. Now repeat after me, everyone. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean I need it. So please be aware and make your sustainable choices of the packaging. So please be aware of what you're buying. And this photo is especially for people who love shopping. And online shopping is a trend now. Online shopping involves a lot of packaging, transport, and if the garment or the product doesn't fit you well, or it's not what you want, you either tend to discard it or send it back again to the facility, which involves transport. So just try and understand the carbon emissions given just for one product. Also check how ethnic and sustainable the brand is. So you've got to see when I mean the ethical product, it means the social and environmental principles the brand follows. Next, promote sustainable choices at your campus. This is very interesting, because I'm presenting to the students here, and I believe that students and teachers can come together and do wonderful things. So here are a few examples. You can carry out a waste audit of your campus. You can start a zero waste week or a month challenge and announce the zero waste champion. Make it a plastic-free zone or bottled water zero. You are not allowed to have bottled water in the campus. So everybody starts using the steel bottle. Try out carbon footprint analysis for the campus and for yourself also. You can build your recycling stations. Students and teachers can come together and start a community farming in and around the campus, where I'm sure there are there are patches of land where you can grow, simple leafy vegetables, or just grow something, or just one mulberry tree, or even the drumstick tree can be planted, and people can use that produce for their own purposes. Fourth, sustainability fair. Now, this can be very interesting to you guys because as architect students, you may tend to get involved in a lot of vendors. So vendors can attend that fair, including students and organizations and local shops and businesses, and of course the campus departments and more people. You can involve how many ever people in the sustainability fair, and the whole aim is to make whatever product you're making, or also exhibit their sustainable products. It can be a furniture shop or anything like that. Get hold of all these people who are already following sustainable living, and also showing in their products. One more thing you can do is mark one day of the sustainability fair for touring sustainable buildings in and around Bangalore. There's one very famous person called C.B. Ramakumar. If you have known, he has the Eco Resort, and he also gives lots of talks for corporate and campus, and he also gives a lot of advices on what can be done at the campus to make it more sustainable and carbon less. Less of carbon emissions can go through the tweaks. So you can always make some visits there. Now, one more thing, very important thing, is campus food wastage challenge. So try and set your targets. If you have a canteen in your campus, you can try and set a composting unit or a biogas unit for that matter. It can be done. You can do that in your own campus. One more thing is when I'm not sure the state of Bangalore city right now, whether they are allowed to move in and out of the city, but you can visit Kalika Kendra. They have a year-round composting exhibition, and various brands have kept their models there itself for single-use households, to society complexes, and for commercial buildings. So they have for composting and for biogas as well. And also in HSR layout, if you have heard about it, community farming is done under high tension wires. So they have made a mesh and there's a gate, and it's a very small patch, and public can come and farm. The only eligibility is, and it's a very good eligibility actually criteria for allowing people to farm. You've got to start home composting. Only when you're home composting, you can come and farm here. The second is that you are not allowed to sell any produce. So that involves barter of the produce of different farmers who are involved. It's a very small patch, but I'm sure there are 4 to 5 farmers experimenting and using that patch for their vegetable gardening. Same can be adopted in your campus as well. Mindful traveling, it supports the local economy, use of local transport, public transport. You can carry your own zero waste kit, which can involve a steel straw, cutlery, cloth bags, and reusable food tiffin box. Here you can see my daughter having her own package-free snacks. We at our home, we are very strict about even the food habits which we have, and this is just getting transferred to her, which is a very good sign for me to see as a mother. Shop from local vendors wherever you go, and artisans. Carry loads of cloth bags. It's a very good and important thing to see the culture of the place where you go, and no better way than staying with doing a homestay or sustainable Airbnbs, and they'll give you a very nice impact of what the culture is. It's a very nice way of having your stay in any other place. Souvenirs can be plastic free and no animal product involved in it. Try and offset your carbon footprint when you are flying. There are settings, and you can ask when you're ticketing, you can ask them pay extra money and offset your carbon footprint. Clutter-free gifts and gift wrapping. Now, I'm a big fan of clutter-free gifts, and my personal favorites are baking cakes on special days of my friends and family, giving some plants, homemade bath salts, which I have recently learned how to make it at home. And best of all is giving experiences. The memory is forever. Believe me, we have, as a family, we have decided for our daughter, we are not going to buy any product or anything for her birthday, but we are going to gift her experiences, and that experience can be anything. As she grows up, we would like to take her for snorkeling, for skydiving, or anything. But recent experiences which she had was sowing rice in the paddy fields, and she still remembers that memory very vividly because it was raining. So she has a very fond memory of that. And luckily, that organic farmer where we did this sowing of rice plants, saplings, that particular rice which we sowed, he is going to sell it this year to us. So the circle is complete. What we have sown, and we are going to eat the same thing. Just that in between, the farmer has watered and nurtured the plant. But it's a very nice feeling when you have done something and you get the fruit out of it. So when she knows that this is what she has sown, imagine what all wild imaginations and what all things will go in her mind. And that's what I would like to create for the next generation. Also, one more example I would like to tell you is last year my husband's US partner was coming to India and wanted to gift my daughter something. He specifically got a wooden train set, and he said, I won't make a mistake of buying anything plastic for my daughter, like Megha. I was glad that my posts on social media had made it very clear what kind of lifestyle I have chosen for our household. And I'm very happy the way I share my posts, not just because I want to boast that I'm doing this, but I get a very nice and positive response, and people know what I'm doing. And anyway, they don't try and offend me by giving me things which I am not following. So it's a very nice feeling that people are very positive and supportive around us. And you can gift the best gifts like experiences can be a spa coupon to your parents or your parents or your friends, or travel tickets. Yeah. The next is, these are the photos where you can see my daughter and I was planting the rice saplings, and this particular rice is going to come to our house within 2 weeks now, so I'm pretty excited about it. The other photo is we have petting farms in Pune. I'm sure they'll be in Bangalore also. So this is my sister and her kids. So we all had gone together for horse riding, and in this petting farm they have all sorts of animals where you can feed them and you can pet them. So that's also a wonderful experience for you as an adult, not just for kids. It's for you as well. Try it out. It's really nice. Next is about your fashion choices. Try and be slow in your fashion. The fashion industry has become so fast that in the Western countries, it's like burden for fashion designers to create new design every week, because the fashion there is so fast and it's very cheap. It's not even durable. Every week, people kind of throw away or donate the clothes which they have because the fashion is out of trend. Believe me, it's a disaster actually, and fashion industry is a major waste producer. So try and use cotton and linen and khadi because other fabrics, they do contain microplastics and they eventually turn into our food system. Clothes swapping within families and friends is a very old culture in India, in Indian families, so I don't need to talk more about it. Try and carry your own shopping bag, a cloth bag. Leave the boxes which they give at the store, even for the dress or for the shoes. It's actually unnecessary unless you really want to make something out of the box and keep it with you. Otherwise, I have seen so many boxes lined out of the houses because the shop has just given. You can politely say no, I don't want it, and put the shoe in the cloth bag. I do the same thing, and it's pretty good. Next is, yes, this is again I'm repeating because Online shopping has Diwali, Christmas, monsoon, and summer sale. Actually, online shopping and any other shopping, even when you go in malls, there is always some sale. And this is a marketing strategy, I feel, for them to just promote shopping and to sell their products, especially clothing and gadgets. Because every gadget, for example, a phone also, every year they will have the next version. And it's the strategy for the producers to make new versions so that the old phone is discarded. But imagine the heaps and heaps, actually, it's like a hill of e waste generated uh, just because you want a new phone and the new version because this will have that facility which my phone doesn't have. And I don't know how many of us really use that kind of thing or apps or whatever, but try and think over it. These are few brands which are sustainable and and follow zero waste policy as well. Now, Doodle Age, which you can see over here, Doodle Age is a brand which is a zero waste clothing brand. So what they do is whatever discards they get from the other fabric stores or label, any fabric designer label, they get all the waste and they make fit the outfits or the garment with that waste. So they don't go and buy a new fabric at all. So they use all the waste fabric or discarded fabric for making their garments. They have an Instagram and a Facebook page as well. Please go and have a look there. It's very nice what they're doing. Exchange room in Bangalore is another very nice and interesting way. What they do in this store is you can go with your uh, old clothes, which are not torn or stained, of course, and which maybe it doesn't fit you anymore, or it is too tight for you, or it's too big for you. You can go there and give those garments. They will give you a coupon, and the store has all the hand-me-downs from various people. So you can use that coupon to buy a new thing for yourself, a new garment for yourself, or maybe there can be accessories also. I have not visited the store, but whenever I get a chance to come to Bangalore, that's my priority to go to this store, and this is very useful, uh, especially we go and buy a lot of heavy stuff for the functions, for the weddings, and birthday parties. Like my daughter has a beautiful dress for her first birthday, but I don't like to throw it away because I don't know if people will just use it for something else or something. But this is a very nice way to just, because she has worn it hardly 2 times, I can go and donate that in exchange room and somebody else can wear it. And it's as good as new, believe me. Some people don't use their lehenga or something for years. It's a very good chance for you to donate. And of course, you get coupons so you can buy something from that store. Hasiru Dala Innovations is another place, as you all may know. They are the there is an organization in Bangalore, Hasiru Dala, where they work with waste pickers. So they have all the community drives for the collection, basically, of shoes and clothes and e-waste. You can also ask them that can we have our stations at campus, and can it be um, weekly or whatever, as soon as it fills up, can the waste picker come and pick it up for you guys? So you know that there is somebody to pick it up. So you can call Hasiru Dala and what all services they provide and start using it in your campus. One more brand I would like to tell you is about Bare Necessities, if you have heard about them. They also have really nice zero waste and sustainable products in their store, which is in Bangalore. Uh, they also, yeah, the next one is, I would like to show you. Yeah, so the courses I did enroll myself during lockdown has zero waste in 30 by Bare Necessities. So I was very skeptical about how to make home cleaners at home, or for that matter, bath salts. It may need some products which I don't know, but they have really good cost and amazing reading material. So you can join, you can do this online course with bare necessities. I did another course. It's people who like natural dyeing for fabric and for paper. I did this course, Magic of Natural Colors by Manya. This is also online course. And the third one which I'm currently doing is about the sourdough bread with Suji. So just pick up a topic of your interest and learn something new. Yeah, with this, I end my presentation.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Prashant from Institute School of Architecture, like in second sem.
Okay.
So nowadays, the people are expecting to be luxury and all, and people feel embarrassed to use recycled products, and to be recycled, they feel embarrassed. And how did you make up your mind to be like this? Like, it's so hard to make up mind like this, actually, a natural mind. So how did you?
Yes, I know this is a fact that people think that I shouldn't be using recycled products or even hand-me-down products for that matter. But trust me, if when you see a pile of landfill, even if you don't want to go and see, just see the videos of those, and the effect you have it on your mind is it's so much that whatever you do, whatever action you do, you start thinking about it. And that's what happened to me. And being an environment science student, I have been exposed to all kinds of things like these, and it has really etched my heart, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Where all can I change myself? And honestly, it's a very simple thing. Use a fountain pen. Okay, you buy yourself, when you do something for yourself and consciously you make a change, reward yourself. And what I do is I reward myself with even more better stuff. Like, I rewarded myself with a Lamy fountain pen. Now, you all architect students love your fountain pens. That's what I've heard, because my sister is an architect and my brother is an interior designer. So I know how you have that love of fountain pen, and you really keep it close to your heart. So this one change of having a fountain pen, that was a reward for me for doing something new and doing something good. So coming back to you, recycling, actually you try and make it as a trend, and you post your social post in such a way that, wow, what a nice recycled table mat I have, and I have made it myself. Like, I had shown it on one of the slides. I started making table mats out of scrap fabrics which I had, which is stone. And there was one day when I asked all the society members to donate all the clothes which they want to donate. I got loads of clothes, believe me, and there were some clothes which had no fault in it, no flaw in it. Those ones I donated it back to my maid's daughter. But the others which were torn and all, I just made something, a laptop cover. And when I post, when I feel proud about what I am doing, only then you can pass on the message. If you feel that, oh, this is very dirty and shabby and it looks a little worn out, but trust me, it's amazing, and you should feel the ownership and you should feel proud about what you're doing, because you know in your head you have saved this particular item from going to the landfill. It creates a huge difference when you start feeling proud about what you have done, and then you will never feel embarrassed about it or humiliated. Oh, she's using this bad thing. No, there is Arohana brand which has started making millions of money just making bags and purses out of plastic. It's on Instagram. It's a wave now. It's a trend. It's like celebrities are buying it. So you have to feel proud about it, and you have to promote the same thing, like what you feel about it, and not get into the way that what others are feeling about it. Yeah?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
One more thing I would like to mention, Chandan, here is, I know what happens is, one particular person may start feeling not so good about doing something alone. Like what you mentioned earlier, that you feel embarrassed about it. Form a group of people And community, when like-minded people come together and think, oh, this person is also feeling the same about it. I made a simple coaster, fabric coaster in my house and in my husband's office. I have distributed all the fabric coasters, what I made from the fabric scrap, believe me, which I had got from my society people. I made that. And when you promote it, that, oh, even corporate people are using this fabric coasters. I got an order from Delhi. I was not I didn't want to make any profit out of it, because I just wanted to learn how to sew and I wanted to make use of the fabric. As simple as that. But I got an order. You never know where things will lead. And you just start forming a group of people. Yesterday, while I was giving a webinar to one of the corporate organization, they formed a Google group, because not entirely people will have an idea and know where to start. But when you're in a group and when you speak about it, that's what I'm saying. Speak about what your things are. Speak about what your problem is. Okay, I don't have this, I don't have that. Do you have it? Can we make this together? A very simple thing. So making a group and a community, even on WhatsApp or on Google group or on Facebook page, your own East West School of Architecture, Sustainability Living, whatever group on Facebook or on Instagram. Anything, you just start promoting, and then when you are in the group and in the flow, you do better things and you feel encouraged all the time. If you have any questions later as well, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn account, or you can read my blog at RT Smita on Medium, and of course on Facebook, or any other social media. And we can talk later also, when you start experimenting things at home, or when you start doing something at home, you may need some help or some troubleshooting. Oh, this is not working, what do I do? And I'll be able to help you out then as well. Or you can form a group and on Google Groups, and we can be a part of the community together.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am. It's Bhumika.
Yeah.
The best and beautiful things in the world can't be seen or even touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such prayer among them. I would like to thank Smita ma'am on behalf of all the students and faculty of East West School of Architecture. I'm sure your speech will help our better future, and thank you for sharing your valuable time and experience with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.